Kathy Bates with Practical Solutions, and today we're going to be talking about how living simply helps the environment. You all know that I strive to help people live with less stuff, and it's good in so many ways. It keeps you organized, it helps you maintain things better, gives you more time for what's important to you, but also it can really help the environment. And today we're going to talk about that. So, conservation is more than recycling a water bottle or some newspaper, especially now that recycling isn't happening like it was intended to. Initially, we thought a lot of things were going to be recycled that aren't being recycled. In the past, China has bought a lot of our recyclables and recycled them for us, but now they're no longer doing that. So, cities are left with it, and a lot of it's going to the landfill because we just don't have the capacity to recycle it. So when we think we're doing a good thing, sometimes we're really not even, we're doing all this work for nothing. But true conservation is more about thinking about what we bring into our home and bringing in less so that there is less waste. And we have to think about more than just the waste that's going into the landfill. We think about the production emissions and cost, the transportation, everything that goes into bringing that product to us. And we really want to think long and hard about our purchases, what we bring into the house. But the first step is to simplify the contents of your house. And again, this is what I always start with when we're doing any kind of organizing project. But as you're doing this, what you're going to be doing is going through your house and removing the things you no longer want. They don't fit, you don't use them anymore, you don't like them anymore. During this process, you're going to get a little frustrated with yourself. If you really try to be responsible, you are going to see the waste that you have produced by overbuying, buying things you already had, buying things you didn't need, and here it is years later and you still got them. What I want you to do is focus on the future and not on the past, because we can live in guilt, or we can go on and move on and say, hey, we're doing this because we want to live differently in the future. So we're definitely going to be as responsible as we can be with getting rid of these things. We're going to donate everything that we can donate. Get it into people's hands that can use it. The charities are great at doing that, but there still may be things you need to trash or recycle. And so we're going to be responsible with that as well. But get them out. And again, don't look at the past, look at the future, and don't worry so much about feeling guilty over the waste. So you're going to get your house decluttered, then organized so that you can find the things you're looking for, so that you don't need to buy replacements when you can't find them. So being organized really can help there. Next, we're going to talk about paper. We know paper is a huge contributor to waste. So simplifying your paper. We want to go paperless in ways that we can. Now, there are certain things I still want a paper copy of, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there are a lot of things I get in the mail that I could care less about, and I just throw in the trash can. So again, not only am I going to be saving myself time at the mailbox and dealing with the mail, I am going to be cutting down on transportation, production, all of that goes into that mail coming to me. You can go and ask to be taken off of certain lists that creates less mail coming in, and that's the Direct Marketing Association. Get on their Don't Mail Me Junk Mail list. If you get a lot of catalogs, there's something called catalogchoice.org. You can go on there and get taken off of the catalogs you don't want. You can still get the ones you do. Charity Navigators will also, you can select the charities you want to hear from and the ones you don't. That'll cut down on some stuff coming in. And then be selective about what you print. I know it's so easy to find something on the internet we want to read, we print it, and then it just not only collects as clutter, it's, we're using paper that we didn't have to. So think about the paper that comes into your life and see about cutting that back down. The biggest thing that you are going to find helps the environment is to limit your shopping. Simplify it. Buy less. Really think about your purchases. It's so easy to buy things because it's a good deal, because we think we might need it someday. There are so many reasons. Gadgets that think they're going to solve all of our problems. Think really long and hard about those purchases. And do I need those? Try to only purchase necessities. Again, you're going to have less stuff in your house, less to manage. Then try to use the things you already have. For instance, if you've got this little gadget you want that cuts and dices and slices, but you have a knife. The knife is actually easier to clean and it does the same job. You may be happy with that versus going and getting that new product. But also fix up the things you have. Sometimes furniture can be refinished, things like that. Buy quality over quantity. Buy things that can last you longer, that can be refinished or repaired, rather than cheap particle board that's going to be not, you can't move it, you can't, it doesn't last very long and it ends up in the landfill, not to even mention the production and transportation cost. So then think about using reusable versus disposable. For instance, instead of recycling water bottles, get a reusable water bottle. When you can use a towel versus a paper towel, real plates versus paper plates. Now there will still be times where you really choose convenience. If you're having a large crew over for a dinner, you want to use paper plates. That is fine. But, on a daily basis, maybe choose to use regular. What I don't like to see is so many of my clients will actually wash the paper and plastic to recycle them. And honestly, when the recycling center gets them, they're not going to recycle those because there's still too much food and junk on them. So, try to pick and choose what you do and don't kill yourself over all of it. Combine your shopping trips so that when you go out, you're using less fuel. Purchase fresh foods over, prepackaged foods. Not only is it going to be healthier, there's less waste. When you look at all the packaging that goes into foods, that's very wasteful. Buy local. Local stuff can be higher quality. You're supporting local businesses, but also you're cutting back on those emissions from transportation and production. So think through that. And then try to avoid waste. They say so much of the food that comes into our house we don't even eat. So again, they've done all this to get it to the grocery store. We bring it home and then we throw it away. So think through that. Try to avoid waste. If something is not used, maybe throw it in your freezer or eat it as leftovers, whatever you can do to avoid waste. So these are just some of the things that I think can help us take better care of this world that we've been given. It is beautiful and we want to keep it beautiful and we want to be good stewards of it. You may be surprised at how little it takes to live an abundant life. So many times living with less stuff will help you have such a happy life. You have less stress, less time managing all that stuff, and more time for what's important to you. If you need help with the process of decluttering and getting to that point where you can live responsibly, that's what we're here for. We'll be glad to help you through that process. We will come out to your home and help you remove all those things you don't need, organize what's left so that you can begin to live that sustainable lifestyle. So I hope you will join us May 10th at 10 o'clock. We're going to be talking about simplifying your meal plans. And we're also going to be talking about some recipes and how to store your recipes, which has been something a lot of people have asked about. So please join us. We'll see you next time.